The state's chief accountant stepped down last week after our guest filed a resolution calling for his impeachment following a multi-billion-dollar error he says could affect our credit rating. We're joined by Summerville Representative Gil Gatch, and it looks like you're right at the steps of the State House. Good to have you with us.
Good to be with you. Sorry, it's bad. Maybe it's a bad picture, but I appreciate the time to be able to talk about this.
Absolutely. Well, Comptroller General Richard Eckstrom, he did resign last week after your calls to have him impeached because of this multi-billion-dollar error. Can you just give us a quick overview of what this error was?
There was a misaccounting of funds that were being used from what the legislature had budgeted. So when we looked into it, we discovered there was no missing funds. There are no missing dollars. There are no missing pennies or dimes or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But the budget wasn't accurately notated, basically. So we thought we had it was actually $4 billion more than we really did. And that's
Wow.
a significant number. I would think even, $4,000 would be too much for the South Carolina voter. $4 billion is just unfathomable.
And I want to ask you also what that means to the state. But before we do that, now, the Comptroller General, he had been in his position for 20 years. And you say that this issue started as far back as a decade ago.
Well, in his testimony, he admitted that in 2011 that he noticed that there was some errors. Mm-hmm. He said that there were troubling times. And the thing that really bothered many of us in the House, there was several things, but one of the most important things was that before the election, in this most recent election in November, he knew that there was another significant issue. But it sounds like from his testimony that wasn't something that he was willing to disclose. And we felt that was very concerning because the South Carolina voter wants to have accountability. They want to have transparency. And that would be a significant detail to know going into the election for whether or not they would like to elect him again.
Right. And what impact did this mistake have on the state, potentially speaking?
Well, it's not known completely yet, but you could think of it like this. If you're a business owner, you're making money, but you ask your accountant to let you know what's it looking like? What are we projected to make? What's in the bank? And he gives you a number of, let's say, you got $1 million in the bank. So you as the business owner are like, great, I'm going to expand. I'm going to buy new equipment. I'm going to hire new people. Mm-hmm. And then after you start looking at that, maybe even looking at banks to give you a line of credit based on this amount of money, then you find out your accountant goes, oops, I made a significant error. There's not really $1 million in the bank. There's only $500,000 in the bank. Mm-hmm. That would be a significant problem, could make a difference in definitely in your planning. But, with the state, we're looking at our bond rating, our credit score, things of that nature. We haven't gotten to the bottom of it yet. But we're going to get a new Comptroller General in there now that Eckstrom has resigned. So we're going to take these next steps to figure out what's going on.
What do you think, Representative Gatch, was the ultimate reason why he decided to resign after your call for impeachment?
I think that was significant. Definitely, I think that our call for impeachment and the inquiry into his actions, whether or not if it raised to the level of that misconduct that would necessitate impeachment, I think that was a big deal. I want to, definitely give kudos to those in the Senate, like Senator Grooms, McElveen, and others, Goldfinch, who did an incredible job. If you go look at those finance subcommittee meetings, they asked him some very tough questions, and it seemed like he had no answers. He didn't even know if he had a lawyer or not, which is pretty scary considering we had the email from his lawyer saying that he had been retained. Mm-hmm. So good job to the Senate as well. I think that with the pressure from both the House and the Senate, he saw the writing on the wall, and I'm glad that he finally, even though it took quite a long time,
Sure.
I'm glad that he finally decided to step down. I was a little disappointed that he didn't take credit for the mess up, though. It seems like he is unsure about every single thing as it relates to this problem, except for one thing, and that's that he did nothing wrong.
Right.
I'm a little disappointed in that. I'd like to see him take responsibility for his actions.
Sure.
I think that the vote in South Carolina would would like to see him take some responsibility.
And this is an elected
okay.
position, and this is an elected position, but there will be a temporary comptroller general appointed. So we're going to look to you for some further developments on this. Representative Gatch, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. We're back in 2 minutes.